What's going on, everybody? Metal Dad here, and I'm here with always as Turbo. It's Christmas Eve, Turbo.
It
Say
is.
hi.
Merry Christmas, brother.
Merry Christmas, brother. What brings you to Christmas, or what brings you to the garage on Christmas Eve?
Well, got some bread in the proof.
All right.
It's got a nice tone. Mine's a little different than that. I like it.
It's a beautiful set of singing bowls I got.
Yeah.
Got it for Christmas. I believe it was last year. Nope, year before. Got it for Christmas a few years ago.
Cool.
Beautiful set. Beautiful set. I love them.
Yeah, jeez. Right
I
on.
have a full set for all the chakras.
Oh, really, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. So today I decided I was going to bring up the heart chakra. Bring it a little bit around. It should be at 5/28, but I've never measured it, so I'm not going to say that I know for sure.
Yep.
But I know that I feel it when I go into my heart chakra.
Okay.
So that's all that matters because, reality is what?
Yeah, what you
Thoughts.
make it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Reality is your own thoughts. All right.
Yep.
Bring the energy back up, a little bit more Christmas energy now that we kind of brought it down a little bit too low, I guess.
Yeah, it's nice and crispy cold out. I love it.
We got a fire going.
Yeah. That's how it should be. Hot inside, cold outside. That's the best.
Oh,
For me.
yes.
For me, that's perfect.
So last week you weren't around because
Yep.
you were at a Christmas recital.
Yeah, that was awesome.
How did that go? I always love Christmas recitals.
Fantastic. They had a big vegan spread of all kinds of stuff. And so it was pretty neat because I've been kind of carnivore keto for a long time and taking a break for most of the month anyways. But the kids did great. And most of them, I think all of them was their first music recital. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Really
So,
young.
Yeah, just little children and just cute and just fun for us all to get together. Same thing. We were sitting by the fire and and just great and the kids could all go play and the adults kind of sit around and chat and do great. And yeah, it was cool, man. Yeah, and all kinds of stuff. I've been doing all kinds of things and doing homework and planning for the new year, meeting with some good friends. Bob and I got together and had a chat about what does he want from his garden I'm going to help him build and all that. And so I've been doing a lot of homework on that and trying to figure out how to design it best to suit what his vision stuff. So we're pretty pumped about that. It's going to be pretty cool.
And for those of you wondering where Bob is, Bob's not here. And no, we didn't play Ho'oponopono today.
Yeah, great song.
He's taken a vow of silence for the next 10 days, starting on the winter solstice of December 21st. And he is about 3 days into it now.
Yep.
And so once he comes back out of the spiritual quest that he's on, he's going to come back and he'll be back playing guitar and talking with us and singing, and it'll be a great time. Starting to lure other people in as well. Had a good sit down with my buddy Denny last night. Shout out to Denny McLaughlin.
Oh, I know Denny, man. Hey, Denny!
Yeah, he's popped in last night.
Oh,
Me
right
and him
on.
sat down and had a good chat, had a good catch up, man. And it was
Cool.
fucking awesome to see him and a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, Denny's great, man. I've never always had a good time hanging out with him. A good guy.
Great man. And so we hung out last night and just chilled out and shot the shit, caught up, and he's going to start coming out. I'm trying to talk. I talked him maybe into coming on and doing an episode or two with us.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I hear he's got quite the shop set up at his place there. Last time I was talking to him. I don't imagine that's changed. It's probably just got better, as shops tend to do.
They usually do. I'm not 100% sure. We'd have to take that up with him.
Oh, he's pretty. If it's got four wheels, he's pretty handy with her.
Oh, yes. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah.
I'd trust him with my vehicle.
Oh, geez, yeah. As do many, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I met him years and years and years ago through the metal scene, and through when I used to work at Digital World back in the day, and that's when I was back then I was more involved, with the metal scene back then. Used to do sound for a lot of the bands and stuff. So yeah, back that way. Yeah, cool guy. Actually ran into another buddy who used to play with Denny too, Joey Locke. I don't know if you know Joey, he's a metalhead too.
You want to hear a funny story?
Oh man, bring it.
Joey Locke is one of actually the guitar players in my band.
Oh wow, cool man. Oh, there you go.
He hasn't been out in a while. He's gone, but I'm not gonna, go into a bunch of he hasn't been out in a while.
Yeah.
Waiting for him to come back out. His spot in the band is still there.
Cool.
So he's are going through COVID and stuff
Yep.
like that. You know, everybody's getting hit hard and
Yep.
having to do all these things that we don't want to do. They're trying to force us into shit. And
Yep. Madness.
I hear turn. No, I'm screwing myself up here. I hear that they're going to try and lock us down in January.
Yeah, that's been kind of the word on the street. And for the last year, generally when the word on the street, it's usually what happens, which shouldn't be a big shock because
After they all tell us we're
let's
fucking
face
crazy.
what street we live on. We do live in the capital of New Brunswick.
Yeah.
It's a small town, so word on the street's pretty close to the source, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't take much. Yeah, I heard there's some talk of that.
I heard the NHL shut down until February.
Oh, really?
I think until February.
Oh, really?
I think I'm not going to say it is and preach like it's gospel.
Yeah, there was some.
And if I'm wrong,
stuff.
please correct me. Like I can talk shit and make shit fucking
I
up.
heard like ABC Sports was going to shut down for a while or something. There was a whole bunch of. I don't follow sports, so.
Well, the NHL's there's been COVID cases. Like the whole Ottawa Senators got COVID or some shit.
And they're all vaccinated.
yeah, and they're all vaccinated.
Yeah.
And they're all getting COVID, and
Yeah.
so I guess, and this is just like video, like this guy that I listened to on YouTube talking about how
Okay.
the cards are affected by this, right? So this is the information
Oh,
that
okay,
I'm getting,
yeah.
right? So like, he was talking about these evolution cards, and they're not going to really grow, so they might not grow because of the hockey season might be
Which
suspended.
cards you say?
Well, okay, on NHL 22,
Yeah.
which I play avidly, so if anybody wants to play Metal Dad online, I have no problem getting my ass kicked. I will play until the bitter end, and I don't care if you beat me 14-0. All you got to do is just message me or make a comment on here and give me your information on PlayStation 4. And if you think you could beat the Metal Dad, then why don't you give it a shot?
Yeah.
But I play NHL 22, and there's a thing in there called HUT.
Okay.
So basically, what it is you collect key cards
Okay.
and you build a team.
Okay.
And you can upgrade the cards, and you go through the market item where you can get these upgradable cards and things like that. And
Yeah.
I got a pretty decent team, you know. I put a lot of time into it. And
Yeah.
like I said, I suck. And I just started playing on Superstar lately and was getting my ass kicked by 77 overall teams.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, just obliterated. That's what I'm saying. If you think you can beat Metal Dad, you might.
Yeah.
I have no problem losing, but I also have no problem winning. So if I'm not going to quit, then you better not quit. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
Because I'll let you win 21-0. Not like I'm going to let you, but
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
a score. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
these kids that rage quit nowadays, like they got no gumption and
Oh,
sticking it
they're
out.
gonna lose. They get all mad and puffy, right? Yeah.
Why don't you just finish the game?
Yeah.
Learn something.
Big deal, right?
Yeah, it's just a game. At the end of the day, if you're going to get your ass kicked, you got to get your ass kicked.
You only play games to win, or if you'll only play if you'll win.
The reset button, like
Yeah. Holy crow.
But how do we get them? Oh yeah, so listening to those videos talking about cards because
Yeah.
I get nerdy, right?
Yep.
I want to know the ins and outs. I want to know the best cards to have for my team and shit like
Right.
that. Blah 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 blah. Because I suck, the game gave me a bunch of good cards,
Okay. Okay.
so my team is pretty fucking stacked.
Cool.
I'm not gonna lie. For this time of year and everything, and I'm doing pretty well. That's why I say I challenge you. Challenge you. I'll even do a podcast of me playing this. If you guys want to do it on a
There you go.
podcast, I'll throw that challenge out there.
That's a thing, right? People do
Yeah.
that. They love that stuff.
Maybe we got to go on Twitch or something like that, or I don't know where we got to go, but
Yeah.
we'll make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm not above getting my butt kicked by these kids that can play games.
Yeah.
You know, I've been playing since '94.
So now, how did this guy knows? Obviously, some of these guys they really follow real hockey, right?
Yeah,
Obviously,
well,
right?
it's all intertwined. Go on a ranking system, right? And so you go by the overall. So, like, say the NHL player started about, I think it's 74 overall
Mhm.
is what they start at. That's like the really low end, and then you get the best one of like Connor McDavid at like 89.
Okay.
Those are base cards, right? Just like collecting upper deck cards.
Okay. Yeah.
So then you also have the insert sets, is what they would translate into in real hockey cards.
Okay.
Insert the flashy cards, right?
Okay. Right.
And so you can collect, so throughout the year, depending on what they start the year at on their rating on their base card, and depending on their performance, will depend on how many cards they get a year and what their rankings and levels go up to and
Okay.
things like that. So throughout the year, they get new cards for the new players. And of course, the star players get all the bigger cards and everything like that. So it's constantly growing. So it starts you out at the bottom. And then throughout the year, by the time the hockey season's over, you can get 99 overall cards and
Okay.
just walk around with God Squad.
Okay.
But once again, it's also basically it's either a grind out the game until you have no eyeballs and that's all you do is play the game because you're on Twitch or YouTube and you're doing that, but that's different than just grinding the game out as a free-to-play player.
Okay.
Right? So there's those ways, plus there's putting money into it. So it is a pay-to-play kind of thing. So especially when you're playing I figured this one out because I was wondering why I was getting my ass kicked. But right now, up until now, when everybody's getting the game for Christmas and stuff like that, only the tryhards are playing the game.
Okay.
So it's like I'm getting my fucking ass kicked everywhere I look. But then I'm realizing, well, I'm all with the tryhards. I'm playing against the guys putting, not like I'm dumb. So I could.
And then your team's better. Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah, and then you're constantly upgrading your team. So it is like a grind, right? So they found that perfect way to get you in and keep you hooked on playing the game every day. Free rewards and things like that.
Yeah.
But I used to be really badly addicted to it because I was using it to kind of test my PTSD. Because when I wasn't playing video game hockey for a while because it really did something to my brain when I got back from Afghanistan.
Okay.
Because there's just too much going on. There's too much to control.
Right.
And so my brain couldn't function and play the game. So I didn't play for a while. And then I used to just love playing hockey games. And that's when they switched over to the toggles.
Okay.
So you can use your toggle sticks now in order to play rather than the directional pad.
Okay.
You know what I mean? From the old school, just direction. So I was a whiz at like NHL 94 controls.
Okay.
But then when you started being able to control the player and his stick moving in different directions from the feet.
Oh wow!
When you actually start being able to play the player, like and control every one of his movements and everything, and going through my PTSD, my brain kind of went haywire because I couldn't play the game again. Right. And I was just like, and it was one of those things. It's like when I was learning how to play bagpipes, my brain did the same thing because my lung capacity and everything wasn't good enough for the bagpipes. But I could walk over to my guitar with the sheet music and play it like as if I could go on stage in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's frustrating,
and I had a guy look at me one day because he saw me almost snap my practice chanter.
Yeah.
And go. And then I was like, it was actually learning how to play the Gale. Yeah. And I put my practice chanter down. I walked over to my guitar because I brought it on the band trip. I went and I put the fucking guitar down like that. And he looked at me and goes, "The fuck was that, Hilson?"
Yeah.
I was just like, I can play the fucking song, just not on bagpipes.
Yeah.
He goes, I can see that. How the hell did you just do that? I've been playing guitar since I was 15.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But it was, so that's the kind of thing that was happening when I was playing the video game too. My brain was just overloading. So I've been using it as a gauge because I used to get really ragey when I was playing the game. And if somebody was, because it took so much, so I couldn't play, but I was determined to relearn how to play it. It's just one of those, it's silly, but it's because I was also using it as a spiritual tool in order to work my brain back into working properly so that I could, you know what I mean? I kind of justified it for myself. So I was able to get addicted to it, but even still be able to walk away from it at any point in time and be back in real life.
Okay.
So it was kind of like like I needed a direction to point it. And that I could keep it there because it was too much for the metal. Like there was even too much for my metal.
Yeah.
There was just there, and I was just like, so I was using it as a tool to unwire the shitty wires in my brain.
Yep.
Believe it or not. And so that's the story of NHL 22. So I'm where I'm at now, and I'm finally starting to figure some of it out.
So now how did that connect into the real hockey?
Now, the real hockey is he was talking about how I believe that there isn't going to be any hockey until February because they're shutting down because of lockdowns and the COVID.
Yeah, jeez.
And, the mayor of Chicago has even said, unvaccinated, your time is up. Like, what kind of a shit threat is that?
Well, it's interesting because I just finally finished, there's a Dr. Peter McCullough was on Joe Rogan. It was a 3-hour podcast. And, it's funny, those who are unfamiliar with kind of like we are, there's a counter narrative going on. There's a lot. It's on Joe Rogan. I know some people are like, if it's Joe Rogan, it's conspiracy theory. It's like, if that's what you think, that's how that works.
Then maybe you should listen.
Then it's just clear. Then obviously you have no idea what it's really about. It's not about that guy. Yeah. He's part of it, but it's
just because he's a comedian, you can't write him off.
Well, and you could hate that guy and disagree with everything he says. The whole point is it's about the people he brings on. Like, I don't watch the comedy ones they do, and I don't really. It doesn't interest me. You know,
the intellectual ones.
Yeah, I only like it when he has, and I think that's great. That's what's so cool about it. The guy he has everybody on it. I respect that, but I'm not interested. And I'll listen to the odd hunting one or something just because I'm kind of interested in that. But it's more about the political, the doctors and stuff like that. I mean, he was the only one who brought, like, for example, Bernie Sanders. He only had an hour, and he let him just talk for an hour, and they just shot the shit. You don't get that with politicians, right? Especially when they're in the running.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting, But it was a 3-hour thing, and basically just talking about the controversy and the censorship and the lack of treatment and all the weird stuff. And but I mean, I don't know what it's at now. Last week, I think after 2 days after it came out, it had 100 million views. So it's weird because on the one hand, the powers that be are sort of doubling down. But at the same time, people are really noticing something's up.
You can feel it now. You can feel the winds of shit changing, as Dr. Leahy would say.
Yeah, I've had a few conversations with some good friends. Like one buddy, he went down to the States to get his 3rd booster, because he's all in. But we have great conversations. He doesn't judge me. I don't judge him. I'm like, hey, whatever floats your boat. Yeah. But he did it because he wanted to be able to see his family in Ontario for Christmas, and they're all vaccinated too, and they won't see him. They're scared. And he was really frustrated. He's like, holy frig, like, I could not be any more safer. And if you believe in the conservative narrative that they're giving, he's done everything he could do. And if they're vaccinated and they're still scared of it, it's like, holy crow.
That's deep-seated fear. Like, that's not even, if they're that afraid, then those people have already lost.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate to say it that way, because I don't really mean it in a way that they're in a negative connotation at all.
No, but they're deep down a whole other rabbit hole,
But they're that afraid, and that means that on some people that
to show they haven't been exposed, perhaps, or they don't want. I don't know. There could be a million reasons, whether they're not exposed or are unaware or don't want to be aware. There could be a million, thousands of different avenues of the alternatives. Like, are you aware of the role that your vitamin D, your zinc, your immune system, your exercise, like all of that plays, which is the major factor. A lot of folks, they just can't handle it. They're like, well, no, vaccine's the only thing, not realizing it's a small piece of the puzzle, right? So, yeah. It is a very small piece of the puzzle. Yeah. So, so, hey, and a lot of us have got that going on in their families. It's crazy, but yeah, it's strange, knowing that, and how this new variant is. I mean, they're all still waiting for the data to come out, but all indications are that it's pretty mild, right? So, but there was a neat part, actually. One thing the Dr. McCullough said, he's like, so he goes, well, what do you think of this? Joe asked him, what do you think of this new variant? And is it milder? And he goes, well, or is it less dangerous or more dangerous, whatever? And he goes, well, the thing is, you can't answer that without taking into account early treatment. Right? In other words, if you're not boosting your immune system, keeping your vitamin levels up, getting the rest, all this, just being healthy, it's not a simple question, right? Like if you're unhealthy and you're vitamin deficient and you're stressed and blah, 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 and you get something mild, guess what? You're going to get sick, and it's different for someone who gets something that's typically more severe, but has no treatment, no early treatment, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, they were talking, it's starting to come. They all know about this early treatment. They can't claim ignorance. It's all being pushed.
It's all being exposed.
Right. And that's coming out, and that's
almost kind of orchestrated almost.
Yeah.
Kind of. If you look close enough and you can put all the puzzle pieces, you can see maybe an orchestrated plan if we all worked together.
Well, and I'm not, the beauty, we're having a podcast. We're just shooting the shit. We can say whatever the fuck we want.
We don't know nothing.
I don't need to prove anything. I don't need any documentation or anything. But, it's just common sense saying.
You just have to look outside.
It's obvious something is nefarious is going on. And it's at its most innocent, it's a grand Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
You know, at its most innocent, it's a nasty, nasty money scheme. And then it just goes from there, you know. I mean, you know, there's just
We don't
who
know
knows?
because we're not in those billionaires' houses.
No, exactly.
We don't even know who's in charge of the people we think are in charge.
Well, exactly.
Well, but there are things floating around that maybe point to some of those people.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
I can't say any of the names off the top of my head, but
I can think of a few, but I mean, yeah, either way, it's like it's a moot point, you know. It's more important that, like, as people are real aware that we have been misled, we've not been given all the tools that we should have been given, you know.
I actually sorry, I didn't mean to actually.
No, that's it, yeah.
I felt that it was a little bit it.
Yeah.
But I was on TikTok the other day.
Yep.
And I'm really starting to rethink the ancient structures.
Okay.
Like all of them.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, I've been seeing some videos pop up making reference to the size of some of these things compared to how big we actually are.
You're talking early beings and stuff?
The early, like those, you know, those big buildings we're all told are made in the Gothic eras.
Oh,
the
yes,
Dark
yes,
Ages.
yes, yeah.
And you know how we lost fucking like 400 or 500 years in between when Christ was around and everything
right.
else? You know what I mean? You know how there's big chunks of history missing?
Yeah, that idea that I'm fascinated by that too, and that it seems to be really picking up in popularity. That it's more likely by that too, and that it seems to be really picking up in popularity. That it's more like
into Nikola Tesla, and you start talking about how you can wirelessly transmit electricity, and then you look at some of these buildings, and you hear somebody who knows what they're talking about explain how those buildings are actually made perfectly to be conductors of electricity, and have power run through the building itself, and that's why they're made with stone, because there's actually stone, and I believe it's. Me, I don't give a shit.
Well, it's all up in the air, anyways.
But even
it's speculation at this point, but it's leading towards.
And when you think about it, look at let's look at the Colosseum.
Yep.
And then actually think about it, because it was pointed out this: if they were still using horse and buggy in the 1800s, how did they build the Colosseum?
Well, it's different ways to look at that. Here's an interesting one.
Like, I'm not saying this grand conspiracy.
I never underestimate the skill of master craftsmen.
Neither do I.
But
at the
same time, master craftsmen do things the smart way. There's no such thing as a lazy master craftsman or they're not sloppy. Like, there's logic to it. So yeah, there's craftsmanship and there is master craftsmanship, and it's amazing what people can do. Like for example, a lot of this ties into like the mud flood type theories and Tartary and all that stuff. And
Paris underneath Paris.
Yeah. And the reality is there's a lot of that, Now, you can go down a rabbit hole. Like, I was talking to a good friend of mine. He's right into that, and I find it fascinating too, I'm not all in or all out or anything, and I don't have to be. But yeah, and history's always being revised to some degree, as we understand things. But like, for example, there's a tunnel that goes in our own little city. There's a tunnel that goes from the university and the steam plant that heats the legislature and the playhouse, right?
Okay.
And so my buddy's like, oh yeah, it's that's like a mud flood thing. And I'm like, how'd they do that? I'm like, whoa, hold on. It's pretty easy, actually. Is back in the day, you just get a crew of work guys. Work crews are pretty tough. If you know anybody who does labor work, well, imagine, when you didn't have machines. Like, the people were tough. And it's amazing what you can do. Even if look at prisoners of war, what they can accomplish, man.
Yeah.
Even when they're like half starved, when
adrenaline kicks in, you can pretty much do a lot of
especially when the alternative is death, right? It's amazing how motivating. But like tunnels, these things like that. It's like, well, that's not that complicated to build. You just dig a ditch. And, you build your thing and then you cover it over. It's not the end of the world. Like, you can't, everything is not a mud flood. Everything is not like that. But some things don't add up. One thing I was looking in this morning was his name is J.C. Duquesne, I think. He's the guy who, he moved from, as the tale goes, he moved from Heath, I think, in England, and he moved to Cape Breton, and his dad was a carpenter, and he was a carpenter. And in the old, like where he did his training and how he kind of switched over. But this guy built the legislature.
Okay.
He built all these buildings in Halifax and St. John, and they're all these huge, grand stone buildings. Now, I know you can learn things from architect, and there is master craftsmen. It's amazing what people can do. But it is kind of convenient that there's no record of him learning it. There's no provenance, like we don't know what architect he worked with. And he's a carpenter from Cape Breton who all of a sudden
was a master stonemason.
And you look at these buildings, they're not like the rest. And there's like certain ones he built that are like kind of like, you know, they're beautiful wood homes with the parapets and gorgeous stuff. The sort of stuff I would expect a guy like that to be able to do and do really well. I mean, that's the kind, you know, shipbuilders, that kind of stuff. But they're building hospitals and train stations and modern buildings, right? Just none of it seems to. It just seems a little funny, and that's in our own backyard. We can't
build those buildings now.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
Who knows? Who knows?
So,
you know, but it all. Some of it's like, well, did they do it all, or did they build? I don't know. It's some interesting questions, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to look into.
Well, my mind got blown because pyramids are an obvious one. Like, how did they like?
Yeah.
We still don't have an actual. This is how they did it,
right?
And we still can't make one today.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's, especially at that scale,
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's that. And then I never really thought about it until somebody started pointing out some of these buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And then what really did it was he was talking about how in the 1860s, when they took pictures of all of these cities that were around these ancient fucking buildings that we're classifying.
Shanties and little wood things.
All of the streets, but all of the streets were empty.
Yep.
Because there was the that city could house that many people, but there wasn't that many people in the city.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, that could be kind of coincidence, I guess.
Little ideas and their little theories. But again, they don't have to be right about everything. They only have to be right about one.
And
if you did 100 buildings of mud flood, and you're like 99 of those are complete bullshit. Else, but all you need is one dinosaur to go, holy shit, fucking dinosaurs a million years ago. No kidding, right? I mean, that's how science works. And there's Australia is a crazy one. You look at Australia and the old wood windmills and just the timeline of when the people went. There's a particular guy, I forget his name, he's a very famous architect, very similar. And that's what really struck me this morning when I looked up this J.C. Duquesne name. They talked about this guy in Australia who was the same thing. He was like kind of this jack of all trades, this kid. He was a convict. He came over to Australia. Then all of a sudden he was this master builder. And you look at the structures in Australia, they're crazy. Like just some beautiful stuff. I didn't even know were there. And and it's the same thing. Well, we don't really know where he apprenticed, and he just kind of, gee, that's awful familiar. And then when I read literally the same story from our guy, I'm not saying it's true, but it does raise these certain questions again. And you could say, well, maybe they lost track of it. You're like, okay, but two of them, okay, that's a bit unusual.
Yeah.
And then you get like 3, 4, 5. Again, if I was a detective, I'd be like, oh, so you all just moved to New York and suddenly just made it huge, eh? But you all happen to hang out at this bar, and you all happen to be related to this crime family from this island, eh? Well, that is a bit of a coincidence. I mean, that sort of stuff, right? And, that's the problem with, say, sometimes people who just, they have to rely, everything's got to be on the studies. It's got to be this, got to be this, got to be this. It's like, well, that's fine, and that's good. But then you've also got to trust your gut and your intuition and think outside the box sometimes, right? Yeah. So that's one of my personal favorites I've been really finding fascinating is the whole mud flood concept, the idea.
I have to look into that because I
I'll
understand what you're saying. Yeah, please do. But I do need to dive deep into it so then I'm a little bit more on the same page with you.
Well, things like you would see, you'll see, it's sometimes they misunderstand it. Like you forget, well, there's a basement, and they used to load things into the basement and keep things cool, and used to load ice and sort of stuff. And as the technology grows and things like that, you don't need those anymore. So there's things like that. But there's one interesting one. It's a particular building in Australia, and I forget what these two girls do with the Tartarian Truthers. They're entertaining, but they do some crazy structures. One building, there are these huge tunnels that connect these, and the reason why they claim they did it was, well, the guys who used to drive the horse and buggies for them had these build these massive tunnels underneath so that they could bring the buggies in for the guys. Yeah, and there's a lot of those little things that you grew up, you just read it, you're like, well, that's weird. People were weird in the old days, but
that's
then
how
nowadays it's like, and you go, well, wait a minute.
Like, why doesn't that make sense anymore?
Even back then, people weren't stupid. Like businessmen, rich rulers and stuff weren't stupid. They'd be like, well, let's go with brown jackets, or
cognitively we're no different.
Yeah,
like 2,000 years ago, cognitively.
If anything, probably a lot more practical. And you look at some of the old world solutions people had, especially in those days. So there's a lot of crazy stuff like that doesn't line up. Now, the fascinating part about it is I never expected to see anything like that kind of in our backyard, but that's kind of cool. But the more you dig into North American history and really what we've been taught and really what went on, it's there's some intriguing possibilities that maybe it's not quite.
Maybe it's not what we all think.
Yeah, which is interesting stuff, right?
So
fun.
Oh man,
think about reason. Oh, I love it, and I love old buildings, anyways. So I'm just like, I'm all in. Like, look at a bunch of pictures of old buildings and use your imagination. Okay,
I'm not gonna lie. There used to be giants on the planet in my mind.
Yeah,
it's the only thing to.
That one I've been digging into lately, and it's pretty neat. It used to be. I've seen some cool stuff, and
it's like look at the size of some of these structures.
Yeah, we'll even look at the size of old plants and just the way they.
I could be wrong, and I could be crazy, and maybe all of the stuff that I saw might be fake, and I'm willing to accept that and be wrong.
Well, the thing is, when you don't know,
but
you have to let your imagination. I think it's important to let your imagination run wild. Many would say you can't let your imagination run wild. I think that's the total opposite, wrong approach. You should totally let your imagination run wild and see where it takes you. Yeah. And if it's a dead end, well, no big deal. But again, it's that one time it isn't, and that's the whole point of being creative, thinking outside the box, trying new things. Otherwise, we wouldn't have fire. We wouldn't have phones. We wouldn't have guitars. We wouldn't have heavy metal, right? Like somebody had to go try something different, right? So.
And on that note, we tried something different and we each wrote a Christmas song.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear yours.
You want to hear mine first?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll do mine.
Because you wrote yours first. You did yours yesterday, right?
Well,
I did mine a half hour
partially yesterday, and then I finished it off and polished it up to this morning.
Okay, cool.
And yes, I even did do a video saying that I did it. So.
Oh, really? Nice.
On the gram. Now, hopefully I didn't blow my load and play the good version this morning when I was practicing. So what I did is I decided that, anyway, I'm just going to play it. Okay. I'm not even going to give a backstory. It was kind of neat how it all came through. Won't you come and sit with me? We'll have a time around the tree. Yuletime is filled with cheer. Don't be afraid, you'll find love here. It's cold outside, so come on in. Forget your worries, bring your kin. Forget the birds in your past. The scars are fake, they won't last. Merry Christmas, everyone. We're locked down, but we'll have fun. Merry Christmas, everyone. We're locked down, but we'll have fun. Your soul inside is made of gold. Don't let them take away your light. There's There's more of us and we shine bright. It's cold outside, so come on in. Get your worries, bring your broken. Drop your burdens, forgive your past. The skies are fading, they won't last. Merry Christmas, everyone. We're locked down, but we'll have fun. Merry Christmas, everyone. We're locked down, but we'll have fun. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone. Locked down, but we'll have fun.
Cool. I love the hook, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
It's a problem when somebody's playing guitar, especially the first time. I can't hear the words. I just, like, my brain will just go to the music, and that's all I hear. And I was like, oh shit, he's singing. What were you singing about?
Okay. Well, the first verse was basically like me sitting around my Christmas tree, inviting people into my home to come sit around the Christmas tree and have fun.
Right.
So basically, it started out yesterday actually kind of a little bit darker.
Okay.
Because I've been a little bit emotional, a little bit sad the last couple of days, and just I'm working through some spiritual, emotional baggage and some breaking some karmic cycles and things like that. And without getting too far into that and going down that rabbit hole.
Yep.
That's what. So it started out a little bit sadder and darker yesterday, and this morning when I woke up, the sun was out. I felt great, felt recharged. I stood up for myself in the ways that I had to stood up for myself. I found my power, grabbed my nuts, and said, "Fuck you."
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I was out here this morning. I get up early. Because I get up early every morning. Didn't go to the gym this morning. I haven't gone to the gym the last couple of days because holidays. And apparently I shouldn't have gone to the gym because it's just that's the way the universe said no. That's all I'm going to say. It said, fuck you, no.
Yep.
I was like, no, I just want to do arms.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the song. So I was sitting around this morning. I was thinking about, well, what do I actually want to get across? Well, I want to get across having a merry time and things like that. So it went from look here and come be cheerful and have a good time.
Okay.
So that's basically what the first verse is about, is because it says, won't you come and sit with me? We'll have a time around the tree. Yule time is filled with cheer, right? Mm-hmm. And then don't be afraid, you'll find love here. So I'm inviting everybody in order to come in and hang out with me. So then, because I also like to go between the light and the dark, they went into a little bit of a minor progression, and then that's where I'm talking about. It's cold outside, so come on in, forget your worries, bring your family, your kin, right? Drop your burdens and forgive your past, and the scars will fade, they won't last. So that's cool. But as you're walking into, like, let's say, the healing sanctuary that I've created around the Yule tree. Yep. You're coming in to let go of everything that's bothering you, because you're walking through the winter solstice. Because I celebrate Christmas the way Christmas is. Yep. But I am very much pagan, and I celebrate more Yule and I celebrate the solstice. So solstice is all about birth, death, rebirth.
Well, Christmas is about the story of Jesus.
Yeah.
But the holiday that we tend to celebrate in North America, that's our old Yule pagan tradition, really, is what it is. Right?
They took the Norse gods and everything like that, and the Scandinavians and the Russian gods and Santa and the stories of Santa and stuff like that, the old Germanic tales. And that they spun it into a red suit and said, "Here you go. Here's Odin," and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And right, so just to get all the people on the Christian side, they called it Christmas.
Well, that's how you do it. You replace an indigenous holiday with your new holiday that you want, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't take away people's holidays because they just won't do.
So you integrate.
We're not there. Yeah, you integrate, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and then the second verse is it's about reminding people that don't believe everything that you're told, and that there's a light inside of you.
Right.
So the verse is actually, now I don't know what you've been told, but your soul inside is made of gold.
Yep.
Right? Don't let them take away your light, because there's more of us and we shine bright.
Yeah, cool.
So and then basically back into everything else, bring it back around and say Merry Christmas and Just
Yeah.
And so I tried to encompass kind of like a spiritual release type of motif in, so you can listen to it and you can feel you can let these things go as you're listening and singing the song.
Well done, man. Those are good lyrics. Good song.
Thank you.
Good chord progression too. I love the hook. It's just awesome.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, I was trying to do G, or it wouldn't be a G, it would actually be E. Hold on, let me get it for you. I don't have it memorized.
It reminds me of a Christmas song you'd hear like in the late 80s.
Yeah.
It's awesome, right?
But E, A, D, G, B, blah, blah, blah. It would be E, B, A, E.
Oh, yeah.
Are the chords that I play, right?
Yep.
But the way I was playing it, it's set up, it's kind of like Knocking on Heaven's Door, GDC.
Yeah. Okay.
Tradition,
Yeah.
right? So if you were to play it in standard tuning, it would be GDC the way I play it.
Right. Right.
But if you want to play it in standard, anyway.
She's the good old 145.
Yeah, now we're confusing everybody that doesn't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
what are you transposing?
Keep listening to Truth in Our Music, and after a while, you'll
figure
know. You'll figure it all
You'll figure it all out.
out. We'll teach you.
So basically what I was doing is I tried to go G. I'm just going to talk as if I'm up in standard tuning for everybody else. Tried to go D, G, D, C, and then G again. But it wasn't quite ringing with me. But it was in the area, and I was just like, well, I might as well just Knocking on Heaven's Door the fuck out of it. So if you listen to the beginning of it, the strum pattern, I can't really change it too much because Knocking on Heaven's Door, the way I play it, is so ingrained in my brain.
Yep.
So to me, it has that hint no matter what I do. So, but I tried my best to kind of keep it away from Knocking on Heaven's Door, and that's the other reason why I added those minor chords in.
But they're just chords. That's the beauty. It's the tension, right? Like, here, we'll do this for our listeners, for posterity. Turn this on or off there. So yeah, when you're in one, and you go to the four, there's that tension, right? Like, and then that little lift, and you're waiting for it to resolve.
Yeah.
Or a little more, which is really touching. So yeah, you're going. So if you're to resolve right back, it starts getting a hokey feel.
Yeah.
But that just by hanging on the four, just a little extra tension there. Yeah, cool.
Sometimes when I'm put on the spot like that, I'm like, well, what kind of music is inspiring me for this? And because even though that's a kind of a dark song and he kind of plays it a little bit slow, and even though it's all major chords, he kind of still makes it sound dark.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful about Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Make major chords sound dark. Good job.
Well, it was
sir.
about a guy sitting who was dying, who was shot on the side of the. I never did see that was written for, eh?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was written for a movie.
I didn't even know that, but now I do. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, it's an old cowboy movie, and that was, Mama, take these guns from me. I don't need them anymore. Because he's knocking on Heaven's Door. He's bleeding by the side of the river.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's from or something. Yeah.
And my version of Knocking on Heaven's Door is actually kind of a cross between Bob Dylan and Guns N' Roses, but more Guns N' Roses heavy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I do a lot of pick. Kind of.
Yep.
I think. I don't know, but I've never actually played with Dylan while I did it.
Yeah.
I took Guns N' Roses and I was like, well, I'm going to play it acoustic, so I'm going to kind of give it more of a Dylan feel, but I'm still going to keep the Guns N' Roses version.
Never got huge into Guns N' Roses. Like when Appetite for Destruction came out, I was a kid, and I just remember thinking that was like so scary, and those guys were so tough. And now I look back, and it's just like as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, I would have ripped the floor with those kids.
Oh yeah, man.
A bunch of like little guys in girls' pants, But they were at the time, right? It was so different.
Well,
it was just so.
Well, Guns N' Roses
aggressive.
was different than the other hair metal bands, and they kind of
more street kind of.
In one of the documentaries I watched, it was actually they coined Guns N' Roses and either Alice in Chains or Nirvana for basically putting the nail in the coffin for hair metal.
Which is funny because. Like that's one of the cool things about them. They kind of stayed true to what they are. They didn't change for the audience. They came out of the hair metal thing, but they were just a little. I mean, I guess they were of their time. I mean, that's what was going on. They
used the hair metal to get started, and then when it was gone, they floated right. They're beautiful musicians.
Yeah, they just kept doing it. Well, that's just it. I mean, Slash is just a great guitar player.
Oh yeah.
And even Axl's thinks he's. I guess
he was good.
Did he write all those lyrics or what? He was a good singer for that style. He's incredible, right?
He wrote a good chunk of things, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty cool. I mean, yeah, great band. You just can't There's no two ways about it. You can't knock it. But I know just when they started,
Just too much creativity between the two of them. It was constantly going like this.
I think when they started doing like the Use Your Illusions and stuff. At that point, I was I had gone to blues and to older music, so I just kind of I never went through that phase with them type thing. So it just doesn't have the nostalgia for me and stuff. But I can listen to it. It's good. It's cool stuff. But yeah. I don't know. But that's the thing. Everybody's got their journey, right? And mine just went a whole other direction. So
it happens.
And that's why my Christmas songs going to sound very different from yours.
Well, let's do this. I am excited to hear that. And
since I just wrote it, I'm going to try and get this so I can see the lyrics.
As always.
Yeah. So on the drive over, I was like, I want to write like a traditional Christmas song. And I was originally through the week, I have these grand visions of what I was going to do. And I was like, well, I didn't get it done. And I was like, I just want to write something just straight ahead, So that's what I did. But then when I sat down and went on the drive out, I went, but I want to do a swing song. I've never wrote a jazz song. I spent years learning to play it. So now I got one. So here it is. Fire's on, the chocolate's hot, the presents are wrapped, and what have I forgot? I just want to say a Merry Christmas to you. Outside it's snowing, the wind is blowing. I don't want to leave, but I really must get going. I just want to say a Merry Christmas to you. Oh, think of what a year it's been, and all the crazy things that we've seen. No matter what I want to say, I hope you're happy, I hope you're well, and everything in your life is going swell. I just want to say Merry Christmas to you. I just want to say Merry Christmas to you.
Oh my.
Classic, right?
That is, I got to learn how to play like that. I really do. I should learn how to play like that.
It's not nearly as complicated as it looks, but it sure does look complicated.
I was looking at the finger shapes, but I figured it out. Once I memorized what chords you're actually doing, it'll make it easier for me to register what you were doing.
Yep.
But I saw I was like, okay, I'm going to watch that.
And that's the style of guitar I always wanted to play. I always wanted to be able to do that. And it's funny. So now that I can, I guess now I just gotta, it's weird. I've been lately, last couple of years, I'm trying to get like these advanced jazz kind of stuff and lead and that. And I'm getting there and reading, but now I'm just gonna go, okay, I just gotta be patient. I can't do it. But I've been working on playing the rhythm style for a long time. Now I can do it. So today was kind of a reminder that I just gotta write more songs like that. That was kind of fun. It wasn't that hard.
No, it was beautiful.
I kind of want to get into doing my own jazz songs instead of just covers of jazz. I think maybe it's that time to just kind of embrace that. So, but yeah, cool. I wrote my first Christmas song. So yeah, I'm glad you like it.
I do like it. I love it. It was beautiful. I was in a completely other world. It brought me to another place, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just like,
thanks, man.
It's that, because it's that you're 100% right. It's like traditional Christmas song. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun.
those old changes.
Oh yeah,
eh?
like from the 30s and shit, right?
You know something fun? When I was a little kid, I must have been like, I don't know, 10 or something like that, I guess, whatever, when you're in like grade 4, 5, and 6 sort of thing. We used to play in this ukulele choir, and they used to ship us all around BC, and we'd go play up anyways in old folks' homes and malls and whatever. And one of my favorite songs, we did 5'2", and it goes like this. And so finally, I could actually do it.
Let's hear it.
I spent my whole life trying to do this. Whoops.
Volume.
5'2", eyes are blue. Oh, what those 5 feet can do. Anybody seen my gal? Turned up nose, turned down hose. Flapper, yes, sir, one of those. Anybody seen my gal? Now, if you run into a 5'2", covered with fur, diamond rings and all those things, bet your life that it ain't her. Could she hum? Could she coo? Could she coo? Anybody seen my gal? So you can see that's like it's just a fast version of what I just did.
Yeah.
But how funny, I just spent like 30 years trying to learn how to play a song that I really played when I was 10. Too bad I didn't have a jazz instructor back then.
Well, now you do. Now you're done.
That's it.
And that's the way it goes.
Well, and now I am that guy. So I've had a few students that I've taught to play swing, and some of them didn't care for it, but there's a handful who really did and really liked it and got really good. And yeah. So that's kind of cool. It's like, well, hey, at least I passed on the torch, right? That's the main thing. Yeah, but boys, to go back in time, which you can't. Well,
Are you sure?
Even if I could, I don't know if I. Hey, kid, that was the best one you did. You should stick with that. How creepy is it? Oh, man. Whoa. That'd be weird. Is that like some point in the future we do, and then, or that's what happens, and then then you can, when you die, you find out all the times that you went back and influenced yourself. Whoa.
Well, that's going to be in my brain for a while. Thank you for giving me something to think about for Christmas.
Yeah, and you think you're doing well, and really the reason you're all screwed up is because it's like, oh shit.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah. But hey, that's what alternate timelines are for.
You can shift into whichever one you want.
Yep. So hopefully that bread is proofed up. It's just sitting under the fire there. I got a couple more sitting at home. I don't know. I'm curious to see if it raised up or not. It's a no-knead dough.
No need dough.
But I needed it anyways because it can kind of break down the gluten. It didn't hurt.
Okay.
I used a little bit different flour. That's one of the things I learned from my buddy Hans, who's like a master baker. You go to a different flour, even if it's like you could be having like Robin Hood white flour, and you go to this other one. It's might be a little different every time. Any teeny tiny thing you change is a factor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ovens, the blah, blah, blah. So I'm kind of curious. The beauty is it won't be horrible. It'll just be, it's the difference between like the most sublime loaf of bread, no demand, and pretty good.
Well, I can't wait to try it and attempt to bake it myself, apparently. So
yeah, it's pretty much.
You're going to give me the instructions, and I'm going to give her away.
You preheat the oven to, baguettes are a little higher, 450. We'll double check before you go. I think probably in the pan it'd be a little different, probably 350 for say 25 minutes. I know baguettes are 25. We'll check
350 for 25.
We'll look at a couple samples, but it's pretty much that's typical.
Okay.
Yeah. And then let it cool. And it's a non-stick pan, although I just bought them brand new, and I line it with butter. I find it gives a little better flavor. And Yep. And you don't dishwash that pan. It's just hand wash. Or just you know to wash it, just give it back to me and I'll do that. But I'll come out and get it and see. I'll bring more and we'll see what you think. I'll be like testing bread on you and be like, what do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? I kind of got this idea. I'm gonna do a little side hustle baking bread again.
Good.
Just for fun.
Why not?
I enjoy it. I got the time. I find it very therapeutic.
Bread is very fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
So anything that you have to focus your mind on something and concentrate for a longer period of time.
Hoping. Ooh, yeah. So check this out. So I got myself a Christmas present. I know you're not supposed to get yourself Christmas presents, but sometimes you do. It's more of an investment, but I picked up a book. I think it's called the Boreal Food Forest or something like that. But it's a really cool author.
I think I remember you talking.
Yeah, I ended up grabbing it because it's really cool. And it's about all the food and medicine in the Boreal Forest. It's written by a lady from Yukon, but she's got experts from all over the world helped her put it together. And it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm really, really interested. Like,
can't wait to learn more about it.
I've been doing a lot of homework into, like, you tap maple trees for maple syrup, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't know you can tap birch.
Really?
Yeah, and you can make birch syrup. Now, the only reason why it's not as popular as it is because you need like 2 or 3 times the amount of birch syrup.
Okay.
But have you ever drank birch or maple water right out of the tree?
No.
I'd never done it until last year. Holy frig, man. Before the season is over, I'll get some snowshoes and we'll have to go for a little jaunt in your backyard. We'll find out where your trees are.
You just go right down there.
Okay, because this New Brunswick, there's a couple in your backyard. There just is. Like,
yeah,
there will be a sugar maple there somewhere.
Yeah.
Or some birches. And I found a way, even with the birch trees, to tap them without having it.
Okay.
Like where you cap it.
Okay.
And even if you do, they can be prone to infection. It's like if we cut ourselves.
Like an open wound.
Yeah, and you'll get a scar or whatever. But there's ways where you take the branch, imagine my hand is the branch, and you go past one of the nodules, and then you break it there, and you can just tap the branch. It's not quite as fast, but the beauty is the water, and I've never drank birch. I'm sure it's great. But the maple, it's like coconut water.
Really?
It's full of electrolytes and minerals and all kinds of stuff. And it'll just have this ever so slight sweet taste. And this very mild, almost like you had a glass of water. If I took this water bottle and just dipped a spoon in maple, didn't even take a spoonful of maple, just dipped it. And then put it in here and shook it up. And it would just have a slip. That's what it's like. But it's cold and it's right from the tree. You could not get a better water filter than a frigging tree.
No.
Right? And oh man, what a taste. Like I remember my little nephew, we'd be out hanging out at his house and he's like, let's go get a drink, Uncle Chris. And he just goes right up to the bucket, and it's so good. Yeah.
I can't wait.
So I'm going to help Bob out with the same things. I know he loves coconut water and some of that stuff, right? And I was like, man, I was thinking about that. I was like, I want to help. I want to let's get it like a nice non-invasive way. That's what I was thinking. It's like, if you don't know what you're doing, you can damage a tree, you can hurt them, and you don't want to kill it.
Yeah.
And, A, because you don't want to ruin your supply, but B, like you don't want to kill the tree.
You want to be respectful to the tree.
Yeah, exactly. When its number's up, fine, we'll make a nice guitar out of you. But until that time,
you're a tree.
I mean, when my number's up, when I'm dead, I don't want to be stuffed and put on a wall. I'd rather just, bury me under a tree, right? But the idea of having like maple water and birch water and that sort of stuff. So he and I, we're going to tweak that a bit with the help of my sister and her partner. They know how to tap them for maple syrup, but I'm a lot more interested in actually just the water while it's fresh, just to have. And it's so nice. And once you've had it, you'll be upset. If you're like me, you'll be obsessed with it. Like if I had a glass of that right now, I'd kill for it. Like it's so friggin' good.
I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome. Yep. So, which is really cool. Like, cause I had this like vision of it, right? Cause how like we'll want to go down to like Costa Rica or Hawaii or, the Philippines or somewhere cool for a getaway and, and have all their tropical fruit and it's awesome. And how cool is that, But what do we have to offer, right? Well, the summers are beautiful here, but I mean, summers are beautiful other places too. But if you live somewhere hot, like say you live in Hawaii, you live in the Philippines, you live in somewhere beautiful, like our tropical jungles, which to us are kind of a paradise. Remember I had some friends from Colombia, and one of the things one of the girls said, she said what she loved about here, she goes, I just love the seasons. I love how it changes. She goes, back home's beautiful. She goes, but I got bored of it. Like it was, 2 seasons my whole life type deal. She goes, and I just love how, the novelty of it changes. And I thought, you could even have a thing where in the winter, people from places like that would want to come up here and suddenly like, yeah, you're coming the right season to like, you go cross country skiing, snowshoeing, have maple and birch water right from the tree, and maybe have these like wintergreen, which wintergreen comes from birch. I didn't know that.
Really?
Yes. So
I know that now too.
Yeah, that winter minty flavor comes from some sort of birch. Now I haven't figured out which one. I'm working on it though. Yeah, so you have these things. And imagine though, what would be another reason? Well, we go down there to scuba dive, blah, blah, blah. Imagine they wanted to come up here for like Wim Hof breathing training and stuff. And so you could test out your cold skills. Well, they can't do that in Hawaii.
No.
But they can come up here.
Yeah.
And imagine, you know, how, because I always thought about like food, like what would we export? You know, we have our maple syrup, we have different, you know, indigenous things we have, just like, but we like coconut water and we like coconut. You know, I love coconut oil. You know, you do want to, that is what you bring from some other place, you know? I don't like the idea of why are we importing spinach from California? That's ridiculous. But, you know, we can't grow almonds very well. Well, they can, you know, so, and they're not going to start making maple syrup. It's not going to, you know what I mean? It's like, why fight against it? You should work with it. But then I just thought, yeah, what a cool thing would that be? Imagine you could do that, like winter resorts where people would come up to do their cold training and, you know, enjoy the maple water and those winter sports instead of it just being sports, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah. So
It's a good idea.
yeah. Like just maybe that could be like a new sustainable cottage industry we would have, you know?
You guys let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll go from there. Oh yeah, before we go, so smash that like button, share with your friends, let us know what you think. But I think on that note, because it's getting to be that time, and we both got things that we got to do.
That's true.
Christmas
It is
Eve.
Christmas Eve.
We should probably shut her down and say good night or good evening or good afternoon to everybody, whatever.
And I just want to say, oh, Merry Christmas to you.
Oh, Merry Christmas,
Boom,
everybody.
boom. That was a good one.